Hi guys, Mr. Hill here with your maths for today. Now, some vocabulary in our learning objective for today. Can I multiply fractions by an integer? So we need to remind ourselves that an integer is a whole number. 1, 2, 101, 1001. They're all whole numbers. There's no decimals involved with it. So your first thing we're going to do, your warm-up task, we're going to match the multiplication to the addition. Pause here to have a go with this. Okay, how have we got on? So it's important to remember that multiplication is just repeated addition. So 5 times 2 is the same as 2 add 2 5 times over. So it'll be 2 add 2 add 2 add 2 add 2, which is this one here. 0 times 6, well, we know anything times 0 is 0, so it's the same as saying 0 add 0 add 0 add 0. You get the idea. It's repeated addition. It goes on and on the number of times you're multiplying by. 9 times 3, that's 9 plus 9 plus 9. Now, we've only got one option left here, so we've got 1/5 plus 1/5. So that's what we would have. And we know how to add our fractions together. This would give us 4/5. So let's have a go with this and work it through with a question. Alex has 4 pieces of wood. Each piece of wood is 1/7 of a meter long. How long is all of Alex's wood? Have a think. Think about what we just talked about with repeated addition. How could we work it out? Okay, shall we move forward? We have our 4 pieces of wood. Each one of them is 1/7 of a meter long. So our question is, what is 1/7 plus 1/7 plus 1/7 plus 1/7? Now we know from our addition with our fractions, so long as the denominator is the same, we can just add the numerators to get our answer. So we have our answer there of 4/7, because I know 1 add 1 add 1 add 1 makes 4. So how long is all of Alex's wood? It's 4/7. But hang on a minute, we're talking in measurement here. We need to remember to put the M in for meters. This is something that might come up as we go through, and certainly when we get into year 6. Make sure if your question talks about a unit of measurement that you put it with your answer. So 1/7 plus 1/7 plus 1/7 plus 1/7 is 4/7. The other way of working this out is 4 times 1/7. So using our repeated addition and remembering that's what multiplication is. It's just another way of saying I've done this, in this case, 4 times over. We get the same answer. So all we're doing is we're multiplying the numerator by the integer. So have a think. 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 is the same as 1/4 times what? And it will equal what? Pause here to have a try at this. Okay, I'm sure you've all worked this out. It's going to be 1/4 times 3. So remembering now that we're multiplying a fraction by an integer, we're not trying to find an equivalent. We're only multiplying the numerator here. We have 3/4. So this is not the same as finding equivalence. This is multiplying a fraction. We have 1/3 plus 1/3. It's the same as 2 times 1/3. We have our bar model, 1/3, 2/3. We have 2 lots of 2/3, oh, sorry, 2 lots of 1/3 to give us 2/3. How about this one? Have a think. 1/10 times 5. Pause here to complete this question. Okay, I'm sure you're getting the hang of this now. I've multiplied this by 5. So 5 times 1/10. So if I'm using my bar model, I need to colour in 5/10. My answer is going to be 5/10 or 1/2 if we're going to simplify it. Okay, my apologies. These are slightly blurry, these questions. Have a go at them. See how you get on. Pause the video to complete these now. Okay, how did we get on with these? Let's check through our answers. So question 1, we've got 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 to give 3/5, and 3 times 1/5 is also 3/5. So it's remembering that multiplication is just repeated addition. B, you should have 4/7 for both questions. C should be 5/8 for both parts. And D should be 7/10 for both parts. Just be careful when you're multiplying that you're not accidentally finding an equivalent fraction and multiplying the denominator as well. We're concentrating on multiplying the numerator only. 2A, 3/8. B was 3/10, C 5/8, D 9/10, E 4/5, F 8/9, G 8/11, and H 10/11. Check your answers for matching the addition to the equivalent multiplication, and then when you're ready, we'll move on. Okay, moving forward. A pizza is cut into 6ths. Jack eats 5 of the slices. Write a multiplication to represent this. We have it here. We have 6ths. So we've eaten 5 of them. So 5 times 1/6 equals 5/6. So moving forward, 5 times 1/3. Have a think. What are we going to end up with here? Okay, I'm sure you're all shouting the answer at the screen. You're telling me what it should be. So we're just going to go through this one because we get an improper fraction. So I've got my number line with it split into thirds. So I've got 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3, and 5/3. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We've got 5 jumps in there, or 5 lots of 1/3. So that gives me 5/3. But it's an improper fraction, and you know we don't leave our fractions like this. So we'll convert it into a proper fraction. So we can divide the denominator into the numerator to find out what we get. And then the remainder will be what we are left with. So if I just quickly show you this one, we've got 5/3. So I'm going to do 5 divided by 3 gives me 1, and I have a remainder of 2. So this 1 on top is my whole number for my mixed number fraction. The remainder goes over the denominator for my fraction part. So if it works out, if it was 6 times 1/3, my answer would be 2, and there would be no remainder. So the answer would be 2. Okay, have a go with these yourselves. Work your way through them. Watch out for the improper fractions and make sure you convert them back to mixed numbers. Pause here to complete these. Okay, let's go through. 8 times 1/2. It gives us 8 halves. And then dividing 2 into 8, it'll give me 4. So I've got 4 as my answer. There's no leftovers, there's no remainders if we've used the bus stop method to divide. So that's all we need to have. We've got 1/6 times 14. Well, that's 14/6. We're going to divide 6 into 14. It goes in twice with a remainder of 2. We've got 2 and 2/6. We could simplify 2 and 2/6 down to 2 and 1/3, remembering that both 2 and 6 are in the 2 times table. 1/9 times something equals 2. So we need to remember how many ninths make a whole. So 1 whole is 9/9. 2 wholes will be 18/9. So we'll just have a look at this question. 1/9 times something equals 2. So we can convert 2 into an improper fraction. So we need to remember that 1 is equivalent to 9/9. 2 is equivalent to 18/9. We can do this if we've got a fraction and a whole number. We can convert the whole number back into a fraction. We just need to make sure that we remember where the numerator and the denominator are the same. It's equal to 1. So now we can use our maths skills. We know that 1 times something equals 18. Well, we can work out what's going to go in that gap, can't we? So 1/9 times something is going to give me 18/9. It's going to be 18. So I can do the inverse. I can divide 1/9 into 18/9. And because the denominators are the same, I can divide those nice and easily. And it's 18 divided by 1 to give me 18. Okay, have a go at these. Convert your mixed numbers into improper fractions first, and then look at what you're multiplying by 1 to get the number that's on top of the fraction, the numerator. Pause here to do this. Okay, how did we get on with these ones? So 1 3/8 becomes 11/8. So 1 times 11 will give me 11. 1 2/3, I need to make an equivalent first. So I'm going to multiply 2/3 by 2. I'm going to make that 1 4/6. That gives me 10/6. I can do it the other way around. So I could have 1 2/3, and I could first of all deal with my whole number. So I'm going to remember that 1 in this case is equivalent to 3/3. So I could do 3/3 plus 2/3, which would give me the 5/3. And then I can multiply by 2. So it's just a slightly different way of doing it. You can convert the whole thing first and then make it into an equivalent, or you can make it the equivalent first and then turn it into an improper fraction. You get the same answer both ways round. So just to show you, if I multiply this by whole fraction here, numerator and denominator, to find the equivalent, I get 10/6 as well. So it's just a different way of doing it. So 10 times 1/6 is what's that question, the answer to that question. Back over to you, your turn to complete these questions. Pause here, do your best, press play when you're ready for your answers. Okay, how have we got on with these? So you're looking at the number lines to begin with. So 6 times 1/5 equals 6/5, which is equivalent to 1 1/5. B, 9 times 1/5 gives me 9/5, which will give me 1 4/5. Completing the multiplications for part 6, question 6, A, 11/10, which becomes 1 1/10. B, 11/9, 1 2/9. C, 11/8, 1 3/8. D, 11/7, 1 4/7. E, 11/6, and 1 5/6. So completing the calculations, we're looking for the integer that we've multiplied by. So A was 2, B was 3, C was 7, D was 10. So you needed to convert 10 into an improper fraction. And for the rest, D, E, F, G, and H, you need to go into an improper fraction. So E was 11, F 7, G 10, and H 13. So well done, guys. You've worked fantastically well today. Enjoy the rest of your lessons today. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you back in class on Monday morning.